Welcome to our first forum of 2021. Happy New Year to everyone. My name is Shada and I will be chairing today's forum. This year we will have a full program of events that we would like your involvement in. We will have forums about adult social care service, planning, customer service, all focusing on meaningful involvement and co-production. Next slide. Today's agenda, who are people for public service? John Williams, Assistant Director for Adult and Social Care, and our team manager, June Marceau, who is our great supporter for people of public forum service, and she is customer service manager. Help improve support for carers is Georgina Gabriela and Charles Aston Gray from Forward Cares. Next slide, please. This will be our third year of People for Public Service. People for Public Service was created as a partnership between Citizen of Birmingham, the Citizen Involvement Team, and the leader of Birmingham City Council, Adult Social Care, and cabinet members of that citizen would have voice in how services are designed and delivered. Next slide, please. This is some of the members of the team which work to empower you. I'm sure they are a lovely team and we are always looking for you to join our team. I will give you an email at the end of this presentation to contact the team. Next slide. I'd like to hand over to John Williams, who will take you through why we are using this forum and how to comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shada. So first of all, ladies and gentlemen, let me wish you a happy 2021, and as we say goodbye to 2020, it gave us an opportunity to reflect on all the fantastic work that we've been doing, but also the loss and the pain that as a service, as a country, we've gone through. And one of the things that's been key over the past 9 months is how we've pulled together, how we've supported each other and supported our communities to really make a difference, to help those that are shielded and vulnerable, and to really sort of be there for each other. We all have personal experience of this, and also we've got professional experience of it. And one of the key things is around how we make a difference. And for me, that's what this forum does. When we do these events and we go and we do them in one of our community centres, the YMCA or the cricket centre or anywhere else, we normally get about 80 people come along, and the work that you have to do to be able to come along to our event is very complex. You've got to make sure you can get there. The person that you're looking after is then sorted, and that they've got carers or they're meaningfully engaged and they're safe. And then you come along to talk to us around what happens. What COVID gave us is an opportunity to try something different, to reach out and to talk to people and to get feedback and to really engage, and in a way that we haven't been able to do previously. So when we look at the number of people, carers and citizens that come to these sessions now, we're now into triple figures. We're now into the 130s and the 150s, and that really makes a difference. That means we're reaching out to more people. So if we're reaching out to more people, that gives us an opportunity to ask for more volunteers to come and help us, because one of the key parts around this forum is it makes a difference. It helps myself and the senior management team within adult social care understand what's going on the front line. It helps us understand the impact of what we do and sort of the impact on carers and citizens, and it also helps us then look at what services we need for the future. During COVID, we had our social workers contacting people to find out what was happening. Our contact centre staff have done the same, and what we find is we get a mixed bag. Sometimes we do exceptionally well, and other times we need to do better. And we reflect on that, and with the support of June and the team, we really get into thinking about how we can make a difference and what we need to change. So as we then start moving forwards and as we start thinking about what we'll do in the next 3 months, how does that then look? And I remember the event that we did last year, I think February or March it was, when we started looking at what we wanted to do and what we wanted to target and promote and where we wanted to put our energies. And over the time of COVID, and as we've got used to this new technology, we've still done that agenda. We have still gone through those key priorities and we're being able to sort of make a difference. The colleagues that are on the call that you're going to be listening to all feedback to myself and Professor Bett's management team, so we understand the impact of what we do and also where we need to change. And as we've worked through, and some of my journey through COVID has been interesting, so I got into food delivery and food parcels. I started working with colleagues in different directorates and I started working more closely with health colleagues. And what that meant is actually we started taking a more pragmatic, integrated, systematic approach to supporting our most vulnerable people. We've seen day centres close and they still continue to be closed because it's important to protect our carers and our citizens and our staff, but it gave us an opportunity to provide outreach and support and to work in different ways. We moved our staff around the council, so they were then helping out, and they're now helping out with the test and flow. They'll be helping out with the vaccines that are rolling out, and they'll also help out with those that are shielded. And our most vulnerable are staying at home because that's what the government are very clearly saying will keep us safe. Well, we need help and support. We've also recognised the importance of mental health. Social isolation is key, and also not being able to go out and just sort of check on loved ones and family members and friends is also a key part of what we do day in, day out. So some of the work that we're doing with our health colleagues is very much around how we can strengthen our mental health support as a system, how we can provide information and advice and support to carers, citizens and anyone else that needs it that live in Birmingham. The other key part, which is then the financial impact of COVID. Some people have been furloughed, others have been made redundant, and others haven't been able to find work. And so the support of the council has very much been about how we wrap around that help and support to make sure that we can make a difference. To think about what happened in communities and not think about sort of how we can then just deflect, but we want to be there to help. You've seen that with the leader when he does his television and his newspaper articles, very much about how we can then help and support our communities. And Councillor Hamilton has been at the forefront of that as well, sort of being engaging with community services, engaging with officers to make sure that we make a real difference and we can target that support. So one of the things for myself, and it's really key about the work that we do going forward, is we make a difference to people's lives. All the sessions that we will have in the future will then do the same. My colleagues and I have been extremely busy with making sure that we protect the most vulnerable people and our carers and our citizens. But with that said, the sessions that we're going to have in February and March, unless I'm on leave, I will make sure I make time for them and I will move things around so I can be at these sessions to help, support and to listen. To take on board what you say to enable us to then make a real difference going into 2021 and beyond. As we move forward, all the information, all the stories and everything else that you provide makes a real difference to us. It helps the management team understand the impact and also understand what we can do differently. So please continue to engage in this session. Engage with our colleagues on the call and listen to the information and advice they've got and ask questions. Make comments and give us some rich information that will make a difference to the services that we want for Birmingham going forward. I'm going to leave you now. I say I need to go on to a health call, but what I'd like to now do is pass over to June, and I look forward to seeing you all next month. So thank you very much. Take care. Stay at home. Stay safe. Thank you. June, you're on mute.
Always my test, whether I managed to take mute off or not. So good afternoon, everybody, and thanks very much, John, for that introduction. It's really, really helpful. I don't know why, but my system's still telling me I'm on mute, but I'm not. So, as John's explained, we are passionate about involving citizens in the work of adult social care, and I know the team are now working with other colleagues across the directorates in the City Council. We went to the virtual forum, as John said. We used to really enjoy meeting with people. It was a delight, absolute delight, seeing people face to face, from all different walks of life, with all different life experiences, with all different issues they either wanted to raise, or actually a lot of positivity that they wanted to give us and actually inform our service delivery. Lots of comments. It was a really positive forum, and I'm delighted that the team have been going now in this format, in its current format, for the last couple of years. And we really have gone from strength to strength. And then we got COVID. So what we did, I sort of sat my team down and said, right, how do we do this, guys? What do we do, and where do we go to? So we've sort of come up with this approach. There are limitations to the approach. I think we all accept that. That's all a little bit unfortunate. However, what I will tell you is we are doing our utmost to engage with as many people as possible. We all thought back in last March, we were all going to go and work from home for 6 weeks. That obviously went a little bit longer, and now here we are nearly 10 months later and we're still working from home. So what this virtual forum does is actually bring us all together in a safe way. We accepted straight away that we would not want to put anybody at risk. I would not want to put the team at risk. I would not want to put the lovely citizens at risk who work with us regularly. And it's about keeping everybody safe, and I wouldn't want to put anybody else at risk who would want to come and get involved in one of our meetings, which is why we've got this virtual forum. So it's up to date. It gives you a chance to get involved. It is web-based. It does provide us some challenges, but it also gives you an opportunity to make some comments. Simon's just put up on the screen. So basically, the easy way to make a comment is everybody will have a little access bar, if you like, and you can post questions. There is like a square speech bubble is the easiest thing to say. And the easiest thing to identify, but you are welcome to ask questions throughout the course of the session, and I'm delighted Forward Carers are with us today to share their views and give us an update. But you are welcome to ask questions as we go along throughout the session. They will be picked up either at key points during the session or definitely at the end when we do a Q&A. So please ask them, we'll publish them. Everybody's question will get answered. If they're not answered during the session, what we will do is commit to actually downloading all of the questions raised, preparing the answers for you, and then circulating to you, so everybody gets the same information. We also have a web page on .gov, birmingham.gov, and that's where you'll find all the recordings of these events, all the questions that were asked, and all the presentations. But we will make sure you get these as well. So I think that's all from me. I'm going to hand over now to Georgina from Forward Carers Community Interest Company. So thanks, Georgina. Over to you.
Thank you, June. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. My name's Georgina Gabriel. I'm Project Coordinator Health Liaison at Forward Carers CIC. So CIC stands for Community Interest Company, which is for social enterprises that want to use their profits and assets for the public good. Part of my role is around support groups and training for carers. I'll speak a little bit more about support groups later on in the presentation. And the other part of my role is health liaison. So it's working with GPs, professionals, health professionals and healthcare settings to really raise awareness of carers and the support offered to them and make that support accessible as well. So you're welcome to grab a notepad and pen as well. I mean, there is a chat function. We will be sharing links as well throughout, and but you're welcome to make any notes yourselves. So I'm also joined by my colleague Charlie, who's Programme Manager Business Development at Forward Carers. I'll be leading the presentation myself, but Charlie is also joining me. So next slide, please. Thank you. Who we are. So Forward Carers is an award-winning social enterprise delivering services across the Midlands. The largest service delivered is in Birmingham, which is Birmingham Carers Hub. And I am going to read out our mission and values. So our mission is to improve physical and mental well-being of carers, young and old, including parent carers, so that families stay healthier and happier together for longer. And our values are, we're carer-centred, so families are at the heart of everything that we do. We're impact driven, making a real difference to carer wellbeing, and true partnerships, so collaborating with others to improve carers' lives. So this is a little bit about what Forward Carers do, the things that we do. So we offer general advice to carers. So it's young carers, parent carers, adult carers, all carers, and we offer information and statistics and just information really to recognise yourselves as carers if you are a carer. We also launched Carer Friendly Brum, so it's all about creating carer friendly communities. We deliver Birmingham Carers Hub, which I'll discuss in more detail again throughout the presentation, and you'll also see the Birmingham Carers Hub logo throughout as well. And we also provide events and groups. On our website, the link should be shared in the chat. We have an events calendar. So on that events calendar is support groups, activities, events, all for carers, and they're all in one place. So carers are able to go onto there, or professionals, and see what things are going on throughout the week, month, year for carers. So I've got a little chat symbol here, and it would be really great if you could use the chat function just to answer this question before we go any further. So things are virtual now, but it's a really great way for us to hear from you. So are you a carer, or do you know somebody in a caring role? If you could just type yes, no, or I don't know, because you might not be sure, which is absolutely fine. And I'll give you a few seconds just to share that in the chat. If you don't want to answer, that's absolutely fine as well. It would just be really good to hear from you. Okay, thanks, Simon. Next slide, please. So I've got a definition here of who is considered a carer, and this is from the NHS. So a carer is anyone, including children and adults, who look after a family member, partner or friend who needs help because of their illness, frailty, disability, a mental health problem or an addiction, and cannot cope without their support. So this is all about Birmingham Carers Hub. You can still see our Forward Carers logo because we deliver Birmingham Carers Hub. So in April 2014, Forward Carers established Birmingham Carers Hub. And it's funded by Birmingham City Council, Birmingham and Solihull CCG, and Birmingham Children's Trust. And we work, Birmingham Carers Hub work in partnership as well to provide services for carers in Birmingham. Next slide, please. So here are some of the partners, Birmingham Carers Hub delivery partners. So if a carer were to register with Birmingham Carers Hub, they could be signposted to any of these services for support depending on their needs and the needs of the person that they care for. So for example, Birmingham Mind help with mental health, YMCA support young carers, Midland Mencap, somebody cares for somebody that might have a learning disability, Barefoot offer yoga, free yoga to carers in Birmingham. So depending on the needs, as I mentioned, of the carer and the cared for, once a carer is registered with Birmingham Carers Hub, they're able to access any of these services or be signposted as well. And it really does offer carers a holistic approach to support, looking at the carer and the cared for and all their needs. Next slide, please. So here are some of the ways that Birmingham Carers Hub offer support to carers. So virtual support groups, these groups were face-to-face. Obviously, due to COVID, they are now virtual, and most of the partners that you saw in the previous slide are have transitioned their groups online, which again I will discuss later on in the presentation. Birmingham Carers Hub also carry out statutory carers assessments on behalf of Birmingham City Council. Every carer has the right to a carers assessment, and with that can sometimes come a wellbeing payment, and with that wellbeing payment carers can spend that on themselves, so it's something for the carer rather than the person that they care for. Also wellbeing support, so there's lots of information on our website with support for carers around their wellbeing, as well as groups and sessions to support with that. There are online sessions now, which again is in the events calendar on our website. Information, advice and signposting. So Birmingham Carers Hub have an information and advice line, and through that carers can call up and just ask a question. It could be light touch support or more intense support, and they're there ready to answer the phone to support with anything. And they also offer benefit checks, and again can signpost to any services. Virtual training, so there's now training that again would have been face-to-face. Moving and assisting is one of them, and first aid training. So new dates have been launched for those to be online, and there's training around dementia. So again, if you want to have a look at our events calendar, they're all posted on there. Short breaks. So short breaks, Birmingham Carers Hub offer out of school activities for children with additional needs. Obviously, due to COVID, they have some of the sessions have been put on throughout. At the moment, they're not running during lockdown, but they are available at a subsidised cost for children. Thank you. CERS, Carers Emergency Response Service. So CERS is a great peace of mind for carers. If something were to happen to a carer, and in the case of an emergency, and somebody was unable to be there for the person that they care for, CERS would step in for up to 48 hours and stay with that person until a family member could come, and they would just give carers that peace of mind. And the carers card, again, I'll touch on this later on in the presentation to discuss this more. So I know that was quite a lot of information, and there's a chance here, if anyone wants to ask any questions at all, you're welcome to do so. Hi, Jay.
Hi everybody. So one of the questions for you, Georgina, is from Paula, who's asking, how do you register?
Hi Paula, so if you want to register with Birmingham Carers Hub, there is an application on the website. So carers can self-refer themselves, just fill out some information, or contact the Birmingham Carers Hub themselves to do that. So either online or over the phone is absolutely fine. And I will share the contact details later on in the presentation as well.
Great. Next question then is from Alex Evans. How can people who become carers during the pandemic find resources for carers? Is there a virtual carers network in Birmingham?
Okay, so if somebody's new to caring during COVID, they can contact Birmingham Carers Hub to register. That's absolutely fine. There are quite a lot of new carers during this time, and there are virtual groups online, there's over the phone support, so there's a lot of support, and there's also support. I know that people can't attend the hospital at the moment, but there's also support over the phone from carer coordinators, and I'll speak more about that service as well.
Great.
So thank you for your questions as well. It's really good to.
Last one. Another question then, and you may know the answer to this, Georgina, or you may not, and I can help you if I have to. As a BCC employee and carer, what support can I expect when times are getting tough?
Okay, thanks, June. So part of, as I mentioned before, carer friendly Brum, what Forward Carers really want to do is create a carer friendly city. So we are really trying to make Birmingham the first carer friendly city, and for employers to really acknowledge people's caring role. And you know, I know sometimes it can be difficult to have those conversations with your employer, but you do have rights as well, as a carer, to have those discussions with your employer. So June, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So just to add to that, for all City Council employees, there is actually on Yammer a Friday download for carers, which has been set up by Gordon Strachan from our commissioning service in adult social care. So there is an opportunity to share and get support from that and sort of raise any concerns and questions. And as Georgina quite rightly says, we do have, as an employer who recognises the important role that carers play, there is an opportunity for you to get additional support. And your first port of call can either be the intranet or your line manager, who there's a wealth of information on the intranet available for those people in the city, who are also carers and our employees, in addition to forward carers, and in addition to all the other carers support out there. But you can also talk to your line manager to see what additional information can be put there for you. I do have another question, actually. Oh, you've moved on. Sorry, if it's okay. Just one more. What is included in your wellbeing package, Georgina? Sorry, you might not have got that question.
Yeah, I've got that, June. So what is
brilliant
in our wellbeing package? So
yes,
all carers are entitled to a carers assessment. So this it's for adult carers that we carry those out on behalf of Birmingham City Council if a carer cares for an adult. But we also offer for parent carers wellbeing assessments. So it's where the carers assessment and the wellbeing assessment is quite similar, although it's not a statutory assessment. We do look at the needs of the carer, and that's everything. It's relationships, time out for yourself, how caring roles impact you, and it really breaks down every aspect of your life as a carer, and focuses on carers' well-being really. And from that, you know, whoever the advisor is that will be carrying out filling in the carers assessment with the carer, they'd be able to make referrals to the right people. If it could be groups online, again, please feel free to visit our website. There's lots available. If you didn't want to have a carers assessment, which is, again, that's fine. Sometimes it's fine to just have a conversation with one of our advisors. So I hope that answers the question. Okay, what do carers do? So again, if you'd like to just share some of your ideas of what you think carers do, whether you're a carer yourself and it's things that you do within your carer's role, or what you might think carers do. If you could just share some of those within the chat. Again, I'll just give you a minute to do that. June, have we had anything? No, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to share what we think carers do. So personal care, financial care, emotional care, physical care, health care, communication care, and domestic care. And again, it's not always just one of those that a carer can do. It could be all of them. It could be more than one. And then here it shows who do carers care for. So it's just sort of a chart to show. A lot of people often think, well, it's just my mum, or it's just my brother or my son, and that's what I do. And they don't realise that they are a carer. And also, another thing to add, many people think that, well, I don't receive carer's allowance, so I'm not a carer. But you can still be a carer without receiving carer's allowance. Next slide, please. Again, here's some statistics just to show. So over half of carers took over a year to recognise their caring role. Over a third of parent carers took longer than 5 years to recognise themselves as a carer. More than 1 in 4 of mental health carers took longer than 5 years to identify themselves as a carer. And 51% of the UK public do not think they have a friend or family member providing unpaid care. And again, some of these really do show that many people it may be due to cultural reasons, people not wanting to accept carers allowance or accepting support. Many people feel that it's a duty, or just not being aware that they're considered a carer. So there's some of the reasons for why these numbers could be the way they are. So thank you. So if you could just again share in the chat, if you'd like to, how you think these people look in this photo. So do you think they look happy, sad, anxious, worried? Or just have a think to yourself if you don't want to put it in the chat. But I'd just like to know how you think these people look.
Deep, can I come in? Everybody, just while you're doing that, I thought it'd be helpful just to feedback on the last question you posed, Georgina. So we've had questions. So what do carers do, I think, was the question you posed, and I know you've gone through the answers. There is a slight delay on publishing answers, unfortunately, using the system. So what we've got here is worry, organise appointments and medicines, emotional support, guidance, encouraging, offer help, support and look after the person in need, have to sleep overnight and be on call 24/7. So that was the last comment. We've already had 3 in for this one. So we've had happy enjoying socialising. They're all the ones we've had so far on that question.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Jane. So thank you for sharing those, and they're literally just a glimpse of things that carers do, and yet these people do look really happy. So thank you. So this lady here travelled to central London to work every day, to and from on the busy tubes, stopped by Dad's house to make sure he was okay every day, administered Dad with morphine patch and organised 44 tablets a day into a tablet box. Feels a lot of pressure from her work because she sometimes had to leave early due to possibly hearing sad news after medical appointments or having to be on call. This gentleman here did regular food shopping for Dad, always on call if his sisters needed the support or couldn't get to an appointment, and attended medical appointments as well. And this lady travelled from Birmingham to London, attended weekly chemotherapy appointments with her dad, spoke to health professionals, had to digest information and translated, which is, you can imagine, to digest information about family member and have to relay that as well. And when attending medical appointments, the taxi driver would often support her to walk her dad into the hospital as he was quite frail. Next slide, please. Again, I'm sure you can see that these people also look very happy. This lady here hadn't had a full night's sleep in 2 months in this photo. She slept on the sofa downstairs to stay with husband, who was sleeping in a hospital bed in the living room. And this young girl's a student nurse. She just finished a shift in this photo and came to help her nan help make her granddad more comfortable. And the week before this photo, helped her granddad with personal care for the first time. Next slide, please. So I've got some statistics here. So there were 9.1 million carers before COVID, and since the second wave, there's 11.5 million carers in the UK. 1 in every 4 household is a carer. So if you just think about your road, the street that you live on, 1 in every 4 houses are a carer. So the estimate value of care provided since the beginning of the pandemic was 111 billion. Estimate value of care provided daily during the pandemic, 435 million. Next slide, please. So following that, the government have recognised carers as essential workers, as you can see circled there, unpaid carers. So again, they've been recognised just like doctors, nurses, paramedics, social workers, care workers, frontline health. They have been recognised as essential workers. Thank you. So this is Christos. He was a new carer, new to caring during COVID-19. So 1 month ago, I wasn't a carer, I am now. So before the pandemic, Christos was a 20-year-old university student, works part-time in family takeaway, loves playing PlayStation, and loved to spend time with his mates when he could. So the whole family caught COVID-19 and his dad was taken into hospital. When his dad came out of hospital, Christos had to help with the following things. So personal care, helping his dad learn to walk again, going up the stairs, helping with standing and using a walker, cleaning, and supporting with the family takeaway. So that's a lot to have on his shoulders, a young man, that this kind of happened in an instant. So ways we have been supporting carers through the COVID-19 pandemic. The what if plan. So Forward Care has developed this simple guide. Carers can fill that out with information of the person they care for and share it with family members. So if something were to happen to them and they were unable to provide care in emergency situation, all the information will be there, and it covers interests, communication, daily routines, health needs, and independence, medication. So the link for that will be shared in the chat as well. The carers card. So this is a carers card. It's a great tool for increasing carers' visibility. And something that carers can hold with their picture and name on it to say, I'm a carer. So yeah, we issued 1,625 carers card during the pandemic. On the back of the card as well, as you can see, is the emergency contact details of the carer. So if something were to happen to them and the card was found on them, the person that found them would be able to or the paramedic would be able to contact the emergency person on the back of the card to make sure that the person they care for is looked after. So during the pandemic, the card was used. People were stopped by police asking where they were going, and they were able to use that as a form of ID to explain, I'm going to collect a repeat prescription, I'm going to drop off essential food items for the person that I care for, And also with the carers card comes online discounts. So there's a discount scheme attached to this that's a small token of recognition for the importance of the caring role, and it helps alleviate the impact on household finances. During the pandemic, you know, this was discussed in a support group, and one carer purchased an iPad and she was able to keep connected online with the discount that she'd had from the card. If anyone would like to apply for the carers card, the link should be put in the chat, and they're able to do that via our website. Thank you. So carer coordinators. So this is a partnering care card. It offers time-limited added benefits to carers that are identified to any carer that might come into contact with the hospital. The hospital would like to view them as a partner in care. So, for example, if a carer's always fed the person that they care for, and that's something that they want to continue doing, as long as it's okay with the health needs and things like that, that's something that the hospital would look at doing. So Birmingham Carers Hub are working with University Hospitals Birmingham to put those things in place. I understand at the moment carers can't access the hospitals as they would have. However, there are carer coordinators. So Christos struggled to get through to the hospital to get an update on his dad. This is Pat and Ali, lovely carer coordinators who are available. They offer over the phone support. They were able to support Christos to get an update. You know, the hospitals are so busy at the moment, but they are available. They've got iPads, mobile phones to help with the communication. They're offering letters to loved ones. So if the person in hospital wants to write a letter back home via email, they can help with things like that. So they are available, and the link should also be put in the chat for that. Thank you. So the government has made the following items available to carers. Carers do need to be registered with Birmingham Carers Hub, and there are some conditions linked to this. So it has to be if the carer lives in a separate household to the person that they care for, but they would be entitled to PPE. So the link should be put in the chat for that. And again, all this information discussed is on our website. Thank you. We've also been offering e-news and carer updates, issuing these out to carers. So since the coronavirus outbreak, Forward Carers have been emailing carer updates regularly. It's a really good way of staying connected, finding out what support's available, what COVID-19 updates may relate to you, raising awareness on what carers are entitled to. Christos was received his carer update, and in that is where he found out about the carer coordinators, and was then able to carry that forward and get the right support that he needed. Yeah, so 7,868 carers received 25 carer updates during the pandemic. So if you'd like to use the chat function again and just share with us if you've accessed any support groups or online support during the COVID-19 outbreak. So any support groups, online support, it could just be a yes or no, just so we can carry on to the next question. June, if you could just let me know as well if we've had any answers there.
Unmute. Unmute. No.
Okay. I think we were just having a few technical difficulties, but it's absolutely fine. So if you have accessed online support, if you can share with us, what do you like about accessing online support? What are the benefits? If you haven't accessed any online support, if you can share online support, if you could share with us what you think the benefits may be for that, what you think you might like about joining an online group, that would be really good to hear from you. And also, what are the challenges you've had with accessing online support or think that others may be having? Hi, Jenny.
No, so we have not had anybody who's accessed online support directly for caring responsibilities during COVID. At the moment, what are the challenges you've had with accessing online support or think others what are the challenges you have had with accessing online support or think others may be having during the pandemic? In relation to that question, it's all right, Georgina, you weren't on at that point, I was. So I've just repeated it for citizens who have joined it. So Diana has commented, she said she used the Dementia Society for my sister-in-law who were wonderful. So that's a positive for the Dementia Society. I haven't had anybody else who has accessed support. Have we got any comments from anybody? Here we go. So I've got a comment from somebody about the challenges. It's been a huge learning experience. The support has not been forthcoming. I have had to do my own searches. So that's unfortunate. And we haven't had any further questions or comments made just yet. Georgina, if you want to go back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for that, Jane. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to share some of ours with you. So again, as I mentioned, part of my role is around support groups for carers. You can see my face in a few of those. So I've been facilitating a support group called Carers Zoom at Noon. And it's once a month, and it actually started during lockdown. So carers can access, these are some of our the Birmingham Carers have partners who have put on online support groups. So they used to be face-to-face and now they're virtual. And I also facilitate a forum with the facilitators of these groups where we share learning, we share updates that can then be passed on to all support groups so that information is more accessible to carers. So it's some of the benefits that we've heard around online groups is, for example, the ability to switch off the camera and the microphone and carry on with caring. So it's easier because it's in the same room. There's not that anxiety of having to go out and leave the person you care for. And also travel time. So we've had some feedback that actually support groups being online has been beneficial because they haven't had to put in that time for traveling to the support group. And we have had some challenges, so around technology and confidence using technology, and we are looking at this at the moment, setting up some I have set up a step-by-step with joining a Zoom group, which is on our website, but I'm developing a video at the moment showing those step-by-steps via video. And also we are looking to put on some workshops for carers with building confidence. Thank you. So during the pandemic, we also hosted the Carer Friendly Business Awards. Carer Friendly Business Awards. So this is what Forward Carers believes in. So as I mentioned in one of the previous slides, some of the issues that these people had, this lady felt a lot of pressure because she was working and caring at the same time. And that's where we can speak about having a carer friendly employer. The supermarket, you know, if somebody does have a carer's card, they could be prioritised in a supermarket. I know for the business awards, Asda was nominated as being carer friendly and prioritising carers. And the taxi driver, so this taxi driver, he didn't have to help than walking to the hospital. He could have just finished there, dropped them off and carried on with his day, but he did decide to do that. Next slide, please. So who else do you think could help carers? So I've mentioned a few there: taxi driver, supermarket, workplace. Is there anywhere that you may think? Please share in the chat. Who else do you think could help carers? So share your ideas. Okay, next slide. So this is actually my family. This is we'll start on the right. This is my younger cousin, my auntie and my nan and my mum. And then on the left is my cousin. So these are from different sides of my family. My granddad, he's not with us anymore, but he had terminal cancer. So my mum's side of the family were all carers for him. And I just really wanted to show this, to show that these people look really happy, they look absolutely great, but you really don't know what happens behind closed doors. My cousin on the left, my uncle, went into hospital with COVID-19, and he was on a ventilator, and he came out and he's getting a lot better now, but my cousin became his carer. And I just also wanted to say that often being a carer, it can have a knock on to the rest of the family. So my mum, for example, she was caring for my granddad, and her hair was thinning, she had a lot of anxiety. She went to the GP for support, and she was offered medication rather than practical, support, like attending a carers group or calling for information and advice or wellbeing support over the phone. And that's part of me doing this role with Health Liaison. I started in February, and I'm very passionate about health settings and professionals having that conversation, as busy as they are, with carers, to acknowledge that actually you've come to the appointment with the person you care for. Are you okay? Thank you. Now that you've taken part in today's presentation, do you recognise yourself as a carer or a family member, a friend, a work colleague? If you don't, that's fine, but I really wanted to raise awareness of people recognising carers. If somebody's late to work and you know that they're looking after a family member, is that because that they're a carer and they need that extra support? If somebody goes to the front of a queue in a supermarket, instead of maybe tutting or not having that understanding of why they've been able to do that, they might have somebody waiting at home for them that they need to provide care for. Next slide, please. Thank you. So there's our contact information, and you can go on our website to register with Birmingham Carers Hub for support. Thank you.
Hi again, everybody, and thank you very much. And thanks, Georgina. That was really, really good and very informative presentation. We have had some questions for you. You won't be surprised. So one of the questions was, I cannot access the EHCP annual review on Microsoft Teams, and we could not access it online. Do we know anything about that, whatever that is?
The education healthcare plan, so they can't access that on the website. I'm not too sure about that. Okay. You could contact, you could contact Birmingham. Sorry, June.
It's okay. We can contact the Birmingham.
Yeah, you could contact. You can contact Birmingham Carers Hub for any information and advice. They'd be able to speak you step by step over the phone with any issues that you might be having, or point you in the right direction if they can't help you. Great.
So another question that we've had, Georgina, is how can we close the gap in supplying carer and relevant support information, especially in relation to mental health hospital admissions?
Could you ask that again, June? Sorry.
Of course. So how can we close the gap in supplying carer and relevant support information, especially in relation to mental health hospital admissions?
Okay, I'm not really too sure if I understand that question. Is it around having support if a family member's goes into hospital?
I think so. I've interpreted it to be having support to the carer, particularly when somebody's actually admitted with mental health issues.
Okay, well, again, I think a really good place to start is with a carer's assessment, because it could really look at or highlight any needs that you've got at that time, and whether it's one-to-one over the phone support, you know, helping you with the professionals that are in the hospital to have that communication with them. I do think a carer's assessment is a great place to start, but again, the information and advice line is available. Birmingham Mind support with mental health and support carers, so they are somebody else that's able to be contacted.
So I'll just wait to go live. So let's just do a summary of some of the other questions. I'm very conscious on time. So Diana's made a comment. We've had lots of thanks, Georgina, comments, really informative session. So that's very positive. So thank you again. Diana's made a comment which says, I looked after my nephew who's in full-time work, looking after his mother who had dementia for over 2 years. And it was so difficult to get services. She wished she knew you then, which I thought is a lovely comment to make. We've got some other ones. We've done that one. Bear with me just a moment. I'm just scrolling up. Diana also said earlier on in the conversation in the chat, it's very difficult to get to some support groups. And today she's delighted that she's able to do this online. So online groups, and I think your Carers at Noon session, I think a lot of Carers Zoom at Noon, I think that's a great title. And I think if we can share some details of how to access that, if it's not on the website, then I think you might get some more people join that, which would be great. And we've had a lot of other people saying it's been a huge learning experience. The support has not been forthcoming. I've had to do my own searches. Somebody else has said join an online group would be good to connect with others. So that's really positive. We've got a question. It basically says, Forward Carers Hub, do you cover all the areas in Birmingham? I think I can answer that by saying yes, but you can come back to that, Georgina, if you want in a moment. There's various links that the Adib, the moderator, has popped in, the chat function for everybody, and we will make sure that they go out afterwards. But basically they are things like, how do you get a carer's card? We've had that question, and that's obviously via your website, so we can do that. So I think that is all of the comments that we've had in to date at the moment. If you want to pick those up, Georgina, before we move on.
Thank you as well for sharing some of that. So again, all the information, all the services and things I've discussed today are all on our website. So if you did like the sound of something or you're interested in something, feel free to check that out on the website in your own time. You can also call Birmingham Carers Hub that will speak about that over the phone. Another thing I wanted to mention is I know it can be quite daunting to join a virtual group for the first time online. There's some people that have never been to a support group face to face, so even online can be a lot. So if on our events calendar there's lots of different support groups, you can contact the facilitator of the group and have a phone conversation if that might help you feel better about that. E-news, so some people mentioned about access to support. If you subscribe to our carer updates and e-news via our website, at the top of our website you can subscribe. It's a really good way of keeping connected, finding out everything that's happening, new information. Covering, yes, we do cover Birmingham City Council So if your postcode is Birmingham City Council, but also you can register with Birmingham Carers Hub if you're not in Birmingham but the person that you care for is. So I hope that helps. Thank you. June.
Thank you, Georgina and Charlie, and of course, John Williams, who had to leave early. I hope you found that this informative and hope you will get involved. We will email all attendance and evaluation form, which you can email back to the email address on screen. You can also email us if you would like to get involved in the work that people for public service are engaged. Next slide. Date for the next meeting is going to be Tuesday, 9th of February, 2021, 2 to 3 p.m. We will email an invite later. Next slide. Thank you. Stay safe, keep safe, and keep each other safe. Thank you.